Bill 9 is the second phase of the CERS separation of self-governance bill that passed last year. House Bill 484. That bill passed overwhelmingly by this chamber. And on page 1 of House Bill 484, that legislation stipulated that it would return to the 2021 session with legislation that related to the statutory benefits portion of it, putting those in various categories. They go in CERS, KRS, and the Kentucky State Police pension part of it. Mr. Chairman, you asked me to be brief today because of a tight agenda, and so I will, at this point, just want to make members of the committee aware that there are no benefit changes in this legislation, and it does not change the General Assembly's ability to change benefits in a future session. There are also no changes to the employer contribution rates in this bill. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Any questions from the panel?
Motion on the bill.
What does
Okay, we have a motion from Senator Thayer, second from Senator Wheeler. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
Aye.
Senator McDaniel.
Aye.
Senator McGarvey. Senator Nemes. Senator Schroeder. Senator Southworth. Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Thayer.
Aye.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Mills.
I vote aye, and the bill passes 9-0. We have a motion from
Second.
Senator Wheeler for consent, second from Senator Alvarado. All in favor say aye. House Bill 9 passes and moves on to our consent agenda on the Senate floor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Weber. Next on our agenda is House Bill 238, and it's brought to us by Representative DJ Johnson. And Ms. Carroll is going to stay at the desk. Representative Johnson, if you want to introduce yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee members. I am DJ Johnson, representative for the 13th District in Kentucky. And Brianna, I guess you need, for the official record, please reintroduce yourself.
I'm Brianna Carroll, Director of Public Affairs for the Kentucky League of Cities.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'm here today to present House Bill 238, which when passed will allow for a minority of city utility board members to be residents of the county for which the utility serves, but not necessarily within the city limits of the utility in question. A majority of the board members will still have to live within the city limits. Currently, 100% of all board members have to live within the city limits. We're simply giving mayors the option of expanding their look for prospective board members. Subject to your questions.
Second.
Okay, we have a question from Senator McDaniel.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Why do we need to do this in the first place? And why are we taking the 20,000 population limit out of there?
To answer your second question first, basically that's just to give a little more flexibility to the mayors. We think they can, in my opinion, decide how many board members they need. I don't know the exact history. Brandon, you may have a little more history on why that 20,000 was in there, but I like the flexibility available to the mayor. Do you have anything other to add to that?
This is a request from Owensboro, and they have an individual with expertise that wants to sit on their utility commission, but they live outside of the municipal limits. And so this was asked just to be able to provide more expertise on the board for options.
And I should say that just as a broader aspect of that, we have a lot of communities where the lines between the city and county are blurring as to where people live. In my hometown where this originated, if you live on one side of Tamarack Road, you can be on the board. If you live on the other side of Tamarack Road, you can't. So we're just looking to give the mayors a little more flexibility and recognize what's going on with population trends.
Okay. Follow up from Senator McDaniel.
And what about the idea that in these larger cities, we're going to
want to take that away and reschedule things at the last minute for that purpose. Because again, this allows JCPS, as you know, some people may think it's a flawed plan, but it is a plan. It does get kids back in the classroom. And I think that is the beginning of the goal that we all have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, Senator West?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I forgot to say earlier, I want to thank Representative Huff for her work on this. You, like Chairman Wise, are in the midst of these discussions on a daily basis. And as a part-time legislator, there's a lot of hours. So I really appreciate your work on this. But I did, and this has nothing to do with Representative Huff. I've been pulled into the conversation that the idea of local control. Okay. The Louisville School Board they have local control, and they are a policy making body, and they have big decisions to make. But the Senate is a policy making body, and we have big decisions to make. And 60% of our state budget goes to education. So if we're a policy making body, education is a big component of that. And I can't speak for anyone else here, but personally, I'm growing weary of JCPS and them not having their act together and moving the school system forward. Our achievement in Kentucky, a lot of it is based on Jefferson County because of how large it is. And, there are kids,
So give us the
our
tools.
achievement gaps are going to be horrible at the end of this. We'll find out in a year or so how bad this cohort is. So we're talking about, I want to focus on achievement gaps in workforce. If this isn't resolved quickly, these long-term impacts are going to be through the roof. We're going to be building prisons to take care of this achievement gap. And it's unconscionable
We
what's
already
going
do.
on. It's
Quit
an economic
acting like
issue.
it's something you care
Our
about now.
kids, our
Suddenly
parents
care.
can't get back to work because they're taking care of their kids at home. So I'm all about local control, and they have a policy making job to do, but we have a policy making job to do here in the Senate as well and in the House. So thank you for this plan. I just hope that we can get back to in-person full-time as quickly as possible and get back to some normalcy. Thank you.
Senator Gibbons.
Chairman, thank you. And I want to take a moment and again, echo some things that have been offered. Representative Huff, your leadership on this, the knowledge this needs to pass. In the absence of this passing, the uncertainty is such that it's going to be difficult for functioning of schools to happen. And our budget is going to continue to send money to these institutions, whether they're open or not. In the absence of this passing, we will continue to pay for schools, whether they're in person or not.
They are
Just
open,
put some rigor
even when
around
they're
that. Thank you
not
for your
in
leadership
person.
on it. Thank you for KDE's work, Chuck, and your involvement in this conversation.
Rhetoric.
We've had Joe Burks on our side doing a lot of work.
Devil.
We've had Chairman Wise. Thank you for gathering this group yesterday. We convened a meeting. We didn't have
Look up Joe
everything.
Burks.
All the T's weren't crossed and all the I's were not dotted. And so we called an audible on that, thanks to your
Ask
leadership.
around.
And we're back today for passage of this, and I am proud to make a motion for the passage of House Bill 208 as amended, that it be reported favorably from this committee. Same should pass.
We have a motion. We also have a second. We do have someone who has signed up in opposition to speak against the bill for a brief opposition that I'm going to grant for 3 minutes for that opposition. Sarah Durand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also have with me today Steve Ulam, who is a parent in JCPS who also had signed up to speak today.
If we can combine both of you all together for the 3 minutes, that would be greatly appreciated due to the committee room needing to be moved out.
Okay, I will speak very, very quickly. So I'm Sarah Durand. I am the Government Affairs Director for the Bluegrass Institute for Public Policy Solutions. And we take issue with this bill.
It's a good sign.
But I want to talk to you today as a mother who is affected by this bill. 2 of my children are in Jefferson County Public Schools, and they've not seen the inside of a classroom in nearly a year.
White people
What they've lost
concerns.
because of that is extraordinary. We don't have a lot of data on NTI because it's not been made available, but JCPS records show that the number of failing grades the first few weeks of the 2020-2021 school year show that they were up 120% in high school and 388% in middle school compared to the first 6 weeks of the previous year. This is why Kentucky law requires that students be in person in the classroom 170 days a year. It's because it's how students learn.
It doesn't say in person.
I could talk extensively about my own children and the loss of learning
Pandemic.
and the change in their overall attitudes over the course of this last year.
Can't we all?
Both of which are negative and profound. But what I'd like to talk briefly about is the question of whether or not our schools are safe to open. In Louisville, the YMCA is running a program that helps parents with NTI by providing staff for students in K through 8th in a workspace. And that workspace is in some of our local
What's your
public
objection?
schools.
What
My
part
two
of this
younger
are you
children
opposed
attend
to?
this program twice a week, where they go to public school and do public school work with other public school children. I do not send them 5 days a week because it would cost me around $1,200 a month for my children to sit in front of a computer screen all day in a public school where they are babysat instead of having teachers to teach them. So my question is that if schools are safe for the YMCA to open 5 days a week, why aren't they safe for the school districts to open? We're allowing the YMCA to open public schools 5 days a week, then let's all agree that opening our public schools is safe.
Let your
And
teachers
if you
talk.
must pass this bill, we ask that you include a similar amendment to those filed by Representative Rayburn requiring in-person schooling for any child whose family wants that option. Because the point of our education dollars is to educate children, and this bill will continue to stop that from happening.
Thank you, Mr. Duran. Mr. Ulam, real briefly, can you follow up?
Yeah, I'll add that my daughter is also attending that CEP program, but a full 5 days a week, 7 a.m. until 6 p.m., so that I can work in a classroom full of kids. The only difference is instead of a vaccinated teacher in the front of the classroom, it is an unvaccinated babysitter where they do their work every day. Quite frankly, the state and the school board are sending mixed signals to our kids. It's safe for you to learn in school with a babysitter. It's not safe for you to learn in school with a teacher. And to clarify some of the comments that were made here about the local Jefferson County School Board, all parties here were not pleased. The parents, the single parents, the parents of special needs children, we don't have the school board advocating for us. We don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars backing us. We have no voice in this. The parents who have lost their jobs because there is no one else to help out around the house with the kids during the NTI, they would not favor this. The parents who have special needs children who require attention all day long would not favor this bill. The 1,800 people in our group, let them learn in JCPS, do not favor this bill.
What part of it? You're all or nothing?
We are arguing a point against the recommendation of all the frontline workers in our district. Those are local medical professionals, namely Connie White and Sarah Moyer, to name a couple.
Mr. Ulam, we've approached the 4-minute mark. I apologize. We appreciate both of y'all's testimony, but we do have a motion. We do have a second on the bill. And this was a specially called meeting that we were going to have to move out of this room, but greatly appreciate both of y'all's testimony today. We do have a motion on the bill. We also have a second on the bill. Chris, please call the roll.
Senator Carroll. Aye. Senator Gibbons. Senator Harper Angel. Senator Higdon.
Explain my aye vote.
Please proceed.
Yeah, I'm voting aye, and I still have some concerns, but I understand the dilemma that we're in, and that's so anyway, thank you.
Senator Kerr.
Wasn't an explanation.
Senator Meredith. Senator Neal. Senator Southworth.
Explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed.
I'm voting no. I'm not gonna sit here and we have a deadline we have to meet. I understand that. There was another sub presented last night that I don't think this is a dotting i's, crossing t's issue, and we're changing our instruction time from 4 days to 2 days, and we're funding 5 days, and what we're hearing is that they're in schools 5 days. I don't think that's an acceptable thing I can reward with a yes vote. Certainly, there's always time to work, but at a certain point, when it comes to constitutional rights of education for every child, we can't sit here and say, oh, it's inconvenient. I don't care how convenient it is. We have to make it happen. That's our job as a state policymaking body, and that's what I'm going to stand for every time.
Senator Stivers, Senator Thomas, Senator West.
No. Senator Thomas, please proceed. Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm going to vote no. I assume I'm going to be limited to 3 minutes to explain my answer. Please proceed. Thank you. Let me begin by saying that I agree with one point that Representative Huff made. I do agree that the definition of local control is that the school board gets to make decisions about how they operate the school. We agree on that statement. Now, I think that includes when schools open, when schools close, the personnel they hire, their curriculum, how they order their transportation. I think that's what local control means. I think we all have to be honest to ourselves in saying that what Senate Bill 208 does, House Bill 208 does today with the Senate committee substitute is just strip away local controls. It just takes that away. Okay? Because now we're telling schools when they must open, how they must open. I have to say, I'm just tickled that they hear this conversation about race and systemic injustice, because I've been saying for the 8 years I've sat on this committee.
Thank you.
About things we need to do to eliminate the achievement gap, and they've fallen on deaf ears. And until we do the things that I've suggested, we're going to continue to have the achievement gaps. And putting these kids back into school on March 29th is not going to eliminate any achievement gaps. I can assure you of that. I too, like all of you, am in close contact with the parents and teachers of my community. I talk to them constantly. Okay? And I can tell you, very few of them, I'm going to say none of them, but very few of them are clamoring to me that the children in Fayette County must return to school. I mean, these are the people I talk to regularly. I just don't hear that in my community. What happens in Greene County and what happens in Laurel County, I'm all for that because I believe in local control. If that's what they want to do for their communities, to me, that's what local control is, according to the definition that Representative Huff said that I agree with. I think we think COVID-19 is over. I think we think we're done with it. We've beaten it. We have eliminated it, and things can now return to normal. But every day, I listen to the CDC guidance and people on the President Biden's task force dealing with COVID-19, and they tell me just the opposite, that we're still in a state of emergency and that we have to wear our mask, wash our hands, and social distance, and COVID-19 is far from over. And so because it's not over, I think schools need to make their own decisions under local control as to how they decide to open. Again, this bill takes that control away. And for that reason, Mr. Chair, I'm voting no on House Bill 208.
Senator West.
Aye.
Senator Wilson. Chairman Wise.
Aye.
Senator
Senator Kerr, yes.
Yes, thank you. I had to step into a committee meeting and I would like to cast an aye vote on this.
Senator Kerr casts an aye vote.
Thank you.
The motion does pass by a vote of 9-2. Members, thank you all for being present. Thank you all for testifying today. Representative, thank you for the bill.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.